that's me trying to read a self-help book for the longest of times. You see, I've always been into stories and fiction like all my life. So you give me a storybook of talking animals, I will devour it. Like it's the only thing that matters. I mean, as kids, that's all that mattered. But yeah, you get the gist. Now, it didn't take a spark of genius or anything for me to transition from animal talking stories to fiction. And all sorts in that, be it thriller, horror, mystery, fantasy, romance, etc. Now, why some people are gravitated towards fiction, that can be a whole another video with like serious reasons of escapism, etc. If you'd be interested in that, let me know in the comments and surely make a video about it. But for now, let's talk about self-help versus fiction. Now, when we are talking genre, we are not just talking about books here. We are talking broad, with movies, stories, films, plot lines in video games, novels, poems, etc. In fact, any art form that you're drawn to that's solely based on made-up characters and storylines. So you can choose your pills, capsules, syrup, injection. But yes, fiction does give you the exposure to range of writing, acting, talking, and filming styles. So when I personally hit like the coming of age with more serious things and focus, I started watching all the successful people, the speeches, the podcast, YouTube videos to get to success. However, at every mention of reading, to my disappointment, always present was self-help books. My love for stories was still very much there. It still is. However, adding more serious books into my reading diet was inevitable. And I did. Did I like it or ruin my sleeping schedule to read them? No. Did it add value to my life? I'll say to a certain extent, yes, definitely. But personal development books that I got my hands on were pretty boring. Okay, maybe except that one self-help book, which was Our Love Guru's Guide to Sex. Hey, that was a guilty reading for a teen in me, okay? And it did help me, I mean, more than the school curriculum would. So yes, while I do agree that self-help genre in itself helps, a claim for it to change your life, I'm not 100% on board that idea yet. You see, everything holds the potential to change your life, if you let it. While it may be motivational video or a self-help book that hits you just right, for me it was the stories, which just hit the right spots, which changed my life. I'm all about learning from experiences, living, truly. Fiction helped me live so many lives, which no-brainer led to a mental gymnastics I would have experienced if it was happening to me in real life. This has been researched about. These mental gymnastics that led me to solve the problems that I'm not facing personally in real life, but in the book or in the story, in the plotline, the character is feeling, did lead me to actually start problem solving in behalf of that character. Fiction reading improves TOM, which is theory of mind, by providing readers with the opportunity to exercise and practice mental stimulation capacities that are also recruited during social cognitive tasks. And neurally, fiction reading and social cognition recruit an overlapping neural network that is the default network. So this essentially means that, yeah, the same part of your brain is activated while problem solving what you are experiencing in your life and while solving what a character in a book or a character in a movie is doing. So when I say fiction is a best self-help genre, I'm seeing it from the lens of living the lives of the characters. What I would have done in that situation. How I and the main character can navigate this life crisis that's in the fiction. That's not my real life crisis. It's something that I am going on a path along with the characters. If there's any skill, each and every life, including the life you are living, can teach you, it's problem solving. And brain, being a muscle, builds when you exercise the shit out of it. Which turns out what I was doing while I was reading those stories. Your brain doesn't know the difference between your thoughts and feelings versus the reality. Goosebumps, hormonal dances, adrenaline while reading thrillers, watching thriller, or skydiving for real. For your brain, it's just adrenaline. The problems that the characters are facing are the problems you are facing. The problem they are solving you can also solve in 10 different ways. There are whole other research and papers talking about development of critical thinking skills and everything related. But for now, just trust me, bro. Now, every fiction has a structure the author sets. Normal life, a life crisis moment, and the main character overcoming it. Yay, I'm a superhero. So while you are the superhero of your own life, you know the life difficulties you have faced and conquered. In that sense, every life is extraordinary. You can make, in fact, I think you can make biopic out of all of the lives. And that's where fiction helps you. Fiction helps you put yourself in the shoes of so many different lives. Heck, it gives you footwear option and leaves you at the disposal to learn which one will work, which one will sting, and which shoes will bite off the skin off of your soles. So these experiences you can have while putting yourself in different shoes is actually training your brain. According to the research, healthy human brain naturally have all it needs for experience-induced plasticity, and researchers have shown practice-induced plasticity can be used for neurorehabilitation. This exercise of brain, you putting yourself in different situations, trying to come up with different solutions, is actually your brain's way of staying up to date. And that's where the neuroplasticity comes into place. And this shows us that your high involvement in the right fiction holds such an immense potential to heal you. Can you imagine the power of being this delulu and losing yourself in the story? The other side of the story. The grass is always greener on the other side. Every villain was once a hero. Villains are made, not born. These are few of the phrases we use to describe the ever so present blind spots in the stories. A perspective you might be missing. And as you witnessed a story while reading, listening, watching, you gave the perspective on these blind spots. When you go into the story of a villain, you will see yourself empathizing more with them, irrespective of how fucked up and disruptive their actions are in the society. Every psychotic serial killer documentary will show you the upbringing of the evil. It's either that or no records of their upbringings, but those are the missing pieces of the story. While you might not end up empathizing with the current form of evil, villain, or their actions, you will definitely notice the faults in the society and the societal values more than the faults in the person. That's the empathy. As you are busy experiencing all this process of living life fast forward in few hundreds of pages, it leaves you daydreaming of your own plot lines, your own side plot lines. Fiction leaves you with growth ideas, battles, love, empathy, and more. Dare I say more than a self-help book will leave you with. Now, there are numerous studies that directly correlate empathy in particular with fiction, putting our references here which has direct citations for it. So it's kind of a fact of its own. Fiction actually builds empathy. Readers of fiction score higher on measures of empathy and theory of mind, the ability to think about others' thoughts and feelings, than non-readers even after controlling for age, gender, intelligence, and personality factors. Now, this whole take is based on few differentiating pillars for self-help and fiction. However, if you bring third party into this discussion, say biographies or autobiographies, my take will remain similar but will modify definitely. Biographies over fiction and fiction over self-help. All these studies and instances from my personal experience is not concluding that fiction is the most supreme form of self-help genre you can get. No. You as the reader, as the listener, as the viewer, has the most impact you allow your mind to create. Same research paper has mentioned this in the introduction itself. Such high quality practice in simulation or the capacity to experience realities outside of the here and now, including the hypothetical events, distant worlds, and other people's subjective experience, then translates into real-world consequences for readers' social cognition. You hold the power of your attention, time, imagination, delulu, and choice. So whatever floats your boats to the high vibe, Even if it's a self-help book, you're the boss. For me, it will be the stories. For you, it might be self-help books. Though to be fair, I am personally looking forward to reading some self-help books with the intention of learning a few new things. But this video was all about shedding light on why I keep stories in high regards, and not just me, many other people. So I'm very curious to listen to your take on this. Let me know down in the comments. I'll link all the studies and recent quoting here down below in the description if you feel like nerding out on them. So if you enjoy the silly little dreamy fiction or maybe Wattpad, I hope this video made you feel better about the indulgence. Share this with your friends and family who enjoy fiction themselves or who think it's a waste of time. Definitely share it with them. We don't want anyone thinking that, right? And if you're a romantic fiction buff, check out this video where I touch upon few life lessons for modern dating or romantic classic Pretty Women. And don't forget to tell me what you'd like to see next on the High Life Vibes in the comments, because I believe every little thing can be a high vibe thing if you know what angle to look it from. Talk to you in the next video. So subscribe and stick around. Bye!